We have to use structures, but then we have to transcend those structures. And what this key is about is balancing the expression of the energy that's trying to come through the form, through the structure, and the actual structure itself. This week in the cosmos is all about balance as we pass through the 60th gene key, whose shadow is limitation, gift is realism, and city is justice. So this force of limitation is the counterweight to life itself. It is gravity, it is heavy, it is devolution and eventual death when we are settled into this shadow frequency. It's what draws us backwards. It's what pulls us down. It's this, we have this energy in us that just wants to grow and evolve and be and do and learn, and there's this counterweight to that. And that is the 60th shadow of limitation. Red tape is the king of limitation because it just tries to stop imagination. It tries to stop youth. It tries to stop newness because it's attached to the structure that's already there. And that's what limitation is all about. It's all about structures and the energy that plays through those structures. Whenever something prevents you from seeing that life has a built-in mechanism to right itself, you are limited. The 60th shadow identifies to the structure. The problem with that is that no structure can last. Every structure is eventually going to have a downfall. Think the Greek Empire, the Roman Empire, the Byzantine Empire, anything even down to something like the church. There are these giant climbs up where typically what's happening is the energy that started this movement is still shining through the structure brilliantly. And then we hit a certain point where it becomes about the structure. And it starts to get weighed down and break apart because nothing can last. All roads lead to death. Another place that this shows up is the legal system. The original idea of the legal system was to provide equity, provide balance, give everyone an even chance. And you can see what it has turned into. How these little micro laws oftentimes go counter to justice. We're such bureaucrats. We're tied into, it has to be this way because this is what's written, and we totally forget why it was written in the first place. The 56th shadow is the shadow of distraction, and that's the programming partner here. And what happens is the structure distracts us away from its original idea, from the indwelling idea, spirit that lies underneath. The other way that we can see limitation clearly play into this is distraction play into this is we feel limited. And because we feel limited, we want to do or need to do something that distracts us away from that feeling, which reinforces the limitation, which reinforces the distraction, which is the classic feedback loop of programming partners at the shadow frequency. Structure is a necessary thing. In order for magic to happen, we need structure. In order consciousness to come into the world, we need structure. But every structure is dispensable. The past limits our future if we are stuck in the structures. Remember, it's not about the structure, it's about the energy that's trying to come through it. The church, for example, and anything that's not adapted to suit the times, that is stuck in the original, believing that every word of the Bible is literal and tells you exactly what you need to do. Well, we learned that evolution is something that's happening. We learned that the earth is a lot older than the Bible says that it is. And it doesn't negate all the energy, all the lessons, the beauty, the brilliance that is contained in the Bible. It doesn't negate the teachings of Jesus Christ, who was a real man and found a pathway to God through love and service and community. But the church got bogged down in the structure. People got addicted to power. Human thinking is a huge structural limitation. We put on these glasses that we can't see, but they color the world. And we're oblivious to it. And that is a limitation that doesn't allow us to see what's really happening. Language is one of the greatest limitations. Language, how we even put sentences together, the syntax really affects how we view and see the world. How we talk to ourselves affects everything else that we do. This 60th gene key is part of the ring of Gaia, is the codon ring here, which is 60, 61, and 19. 60 being the form that Gaia takes, the actual physicality. 61 being the inspiration that plays through that form. And 19 being the sensitivity of recognizing that we are all one to begin with. And that ring of Gaia makes us responsible as humans for being the hands, the feet, the eyes, the ears of God as we grow and develop and evolve. Structures are built so that we can move beyond the structure. Even something like Gene Keys or human design or astrology at large, people get attached to the system and they're unwilling or unable to drop that if something happens, if there's a transmutation in our DNA, if a saint comes to the earth and is able to fly, that's going to change a lot of things. And still, some people will hang on to the system that they believe in because of this 60th shadow of limitation. People get stuck in the structures. So how does your mind see your life? Are you limited? Do you feel limited? Do you feel stuck? This 60th shadow knows the feeling of stuck better than just about anything else on the world. But remember, we can't throw out structure. We need structure. You can't have a river without the banks. You need banks to guide the water. You don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. We have to use structures, but then we have to transcend those structures. And what this key is about is balancing the expression of the energy that's trying to come through the form, through the structure, and the actual structure itself. Moving now into the 60th gift of realism, which is all about balancing youthfulness and wisdom. Balancing a wonderful idea, this energy given to us by God, and understanding that there is red tape that we have to work through. And there are laws of manifesting things in the physical form. And there is a gap that we have to close between this thing that exists in our brain and making it a reality for other people to experience in their lives. And what we need to think about is, how do we get that out? This is also a gift of common sense. Realism is simply common sense, seeing things as they are instead of getting lost in the rules or worried about how things used to be. This is about creating strong banks so that we can funnel the energy that is coming through us into the world. In the 60th text and in the audio, actually, Richard Rudd talks about grafting a new vibrant shoot onto an old rootstock. And here, the rootstock is the 60th gift. It's understanding tradition. It's understanding our ancestors, understanding the past, understanding that there are rules in place and laws that we must honor, and at the same time, knowing that our role is to introduce change into the world, but through those structures. We need to learn how to not turn our nose up to what's here, because it's here. That's realism. And so we need to learn, how can we bring this new energy through what is already existing instead of in spite of them. The 60th gift has a knack for seeing the energy underneath the structure. They can see through the book. They can see through the sermon. They can see through the meditation to feel what is coming through that thing. And what is coming through is magic. All that magic requires is structure and an open mind. And what we see as structure, we know, even in physics, is not an actual structure. This desk that I'm sitting on right here is just vibrating energy. It is mostly empty space. But uncertainty attaches us to the known. It attaches us to this being a desk. Sorry for shaking the camera. It attaches us to the structure, and it blocks the magic that makes that structure up. What's happening in the quantum world would be unbelievable to you if you could see it. But we in the 60th shadow over-rely on the form and forget about the magic. Language is a structure that allows us to slip in a frequency. I'm doing it right now. The words that I'm saying are much less important than the energy that is behind those words. Sometimes people will take and write a speech for weeks or months, and then they deliver it and it falls flat, and it's because it has nothing to do with the words. On paper, it might have looked amazing, but it's the energy that is coming through that people connect to, the emotion that people can feel. This 60th gift of realism understands the rhythms of nature. Remember, this is all about balance. There are going to be seasons where you are meant to work hard, and there are going to be seasons where you are meant to rest hard. The 60th gift believes in a pause. The 60th gift believes in the space before creation because it knows that that space is what allows the spirit to come through and allows us to start to create that structure, to shepherd that spirit into the world. This gift is a gift that is sought after into the world because it allows us to take an idea and to make it real. What business would not want that? We can take advantage of structure. People with this 60th gift take advantage of what is already there. They take advantage because they know, they have a twinkle in their eye, because they understand that that structure will not last. It is just a means to an end. And at the same time, we know that we have to use the structure. And so it leaves us in with a little bit of a dark humor, because we can see both sides of those things. All roads lead to death. Remember that. And knowing that, remembering that always is a huge advantage because it allows us not to identify with the structure because we know it's going to crumble. We know we're going to crumble. This is about honoring our ancestral roots without getting stuck in the past, without getting bogged down by dogma. It's about uniting opposites. We need to balance science, and we need, on the other side, love. We need to see that those two are both real, and they are both laws of the universe. The gap between your intent and the form or the structure that we set up, that is where the magic happens. It's not in the form, and it's not in the intent. If all you do is ever intend and you never interact with anything, there's no way for that thing to come into the world. At the same time, if we just identify with the structure, we're going to not give an opportunity for the miracle to come through. Forms trap us. And the 60th gift realizes that. On now to the 60th city, the city of justice. Justice is about realizing that laws and limitations aren't quite what they seem. Even those things in the gift of realism. The perfect example of this is quantum physics, like I talked about with this table. We know that it's just, there's something more there that we can't quite see. And the 60th city breaks those laws. The laws that govern physical existence are loosened or broken in this city of justice, of balance, because if there is gravity, there must be levity. This is what's called a miracle city, because real and legitimate miracles manifest through this city, and they will change the world. There's a man, an avatar known as Babaji. If you've ever read the book Autobiography of a Yogi, they talk about him in there. And Babaji has the ability to travel from place to place without actually moving. He has the ability to travel through time. And these are manifestations of the 60th city of justice. As modern humans, we have been conditioned by religion and by our perverted sense of justice. And so we think of the idea of Judgment Day as punishment and reward, or retribution. We think of justice as retribution for things that we have done. But true justice is just balance. It is simply the way of the universe. It is a cosmic law. You are not being punished. You will not be punished for anything that you have done. The 60th city breaks the laws of time because there is no past and no present. And that means that we can travel through time. Everything in the future has already happened, and everything in the past is accessible to us still. The 60th city, as I just said, if there is gravity that limits us, there is levity that helps us fly. And I mean that literally. The 60th city is where we get, for example, in ancient Eastern traditions, we see men and women flying across the rooftops. That is a manifestation of the 60th city. And imagine if in this day and age, that city were to show itself through someone. That is all it takes, ladies and gentlemen, for the whole world to change forever. Justice is a reward given as grace. It is not retribution for wrongdoing. It's not up to us to punish. Life redresses the balance, always. It's up to us to forgive. It's up to us to love. It's up to us to trust in the flow of life, not to enforce what we think is the right thing for somebody else. We become an agent of divine justice when we step up into sacrifice, which is part of the ring of Gaia here, the codon ring. The 19th city is sacrifice. When somebody wrongs you, if you can step into forgiveness, if you can sacrifice your personal need to feel retribution, your personal need for that other person to feel wrong because they wronged you, then you get to be an agent of divine justice. Imagine if we're able to unlock the energy of gravity because we recognize that there's something more to it than we can see with our eyes. There is an energy that is pulling something down. And if we can figure out how to unlock that energy, that is free energy for the world. And free energy means free resources, means free people. This is the 60th city. Light is unlimited. We have this belief that light has to travel from point A to point B, but light is everywhere already. It is within the darkness. If you think about a string of LED lights and you watch the light travel, right? We watch it move down the string. What's really happening is the light is turning on and off, on and off, on and off. And into our eye, it looks like it travels. But light does not travel because it is everywhere. It has to be. It's a matter of balance. If darkness is everywhere, so is the light. Justice is levity, just as limitation is gravity. And I hope you felt this one because this is my purpose. The 60th city is in my profile as my purpose. The 60th gift is what I am here to learn. It's what drives who I am as a person. And the 60th city is a lesson that I struggle, or excuse me, the 60th shadow is a lesson that I struggle with constantly. I hope that was helpful. I hope that came across like it felt. And I'll see you guys next time.